listen to our expose of the Commonwealth report on the Pakistan general election of the 8th of February 2024. I will speak partly in English, and then towards the end we will make our observations in Urdu, because some friends from the international media are here. And it's important that what happened in Pakistan, and which has now been affirmed by an international body of high standing, should reach across the globe. This was a wholesale attack on the election that was held on the 8th of February 2024. And what we have always known since the evening of the 8th of February, those of us on the ground who contested the election, who observed the election here in Pakistan, knew that the election had been completely subverted. The will of the people of Pakistan had been completely subverted, and a fake system had been created on the basis of rigged results. Now that fact has been affirmed by this report that I have in my hands here. This is the report compiled by the Commonwealth Observer Group that visited Pakistan during and soon after the election of February 2024. Now we will make some comments about the delay in its publication. This report has still not been officially published, though it has been leaked and the Commonwealth Secretariat has accepted the validity of this report. All they've said is that they will be releasing it in a few days' time along with some other documents. So there is no dispute as regards the veracity, the correctness of this report. This is the report of the observer group set up by the Commonwealth. Now this report has an executive summary at the outset, about 4 or 5 pages. I would urge everyone, each one of you, to please read those 5 pages. They present in a crux the assault that was carried out on the election of the 8th of February 2024. So for instance, here in the executive summary, they describe the legal environment in the days and weeks leading up to the election. You will all recall that the PTI was denied its election symbol, the bat, which had been PTI's election symbol for decades. That was taken away on the last day, the 13th of January 2024, which was the last day for the issuance of election symbols. And in a country like Pakistan with low literacy, taking away the election symbol of a party is to in effect negate the existence of that party. And that is exactly what was done on the last day for the issuance of election symbols. This report duly notes that. This report also duly notes the fact that before the 8th of February 2024, the polling day, Mr. Imran Khan was awarded through ludicrous judicial proceedings that lasted 14 hours a day from 9 a.m. in the morning till 1 a.m. the next day in the night. He was awarded 3 convictions and sentences, the clear intent being to disillusion and dishearten the PTI voter. This report also points out that Mr. Nawaz Sharif, the head of the PMLN, was granted reprieve in extraordinary circumstances. Convictions against him were set aside. The lifetime ban on him participating in the electoral process was lifted. All of this was happening in parallel. So while one party was being attacked, was being targeted, the other party and its leadership was being facilitated in every manner possible. So the report brings that out as the background to the election that was held on the 8th of February 2024. But despite all this, on the 8th of February, the Pakistani nation roared back. It came out in numbers that nobody had expected to vote for the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or the candidates put up by the PTI, who were wrongly described as independent candidates. They were, for every legal purpose, candidates of the PTI, and yet they were given the label of independent candidates. And that is why, even after all the rigging that happened, which is then described in great detail in this report, the PTI-backed independents emerged as the single largest party in parliament. 93 MNAs, members of the National Assembly, were clearly PTI-backed, or the alliance that the PTI had entered into with the Sunni Ittihad Council, they were backed by these parties, the combined. And obviously the vote was that of Mr. Imran Khan, the PTI. So 93 candidates declared their affiliation to the PTI soon after being elected as independent candidates. That is also brought up. But the fact that the total number of the PTI-backed candidates should have been not 193 but 193 or thereabouts is brought out in several passages, several portions of this report. And I would draw your attention, everybody's attention in particular, to page 94 of this report. At page 94, there are two paragraphs with different headings. One of the paragraphs is headed Irregular Vote Totals on Form 45, and the next paragraph is titled Irregular Voter Turnout. I invite you all, I invite the Pakistani nation and everybody around the world who cares for democracy and who cares for stability in Pakistan to read this report very carefully, but in particular, this page 94. What is it saying? What this page 94 brings out is two features of this rigged election that stare us in the face. The record that the Election Commission finally accepted as the record of the election, and which it put up on its website that anybody could have accessed till a couple of days ago. Now they might have taken it down after this report. But this is there for all to see at the Election Commission website. So what do you see there? You see for about 100 constituencies the following facts. The Forms 45 for every constituency, these 100 or so constituencies, show the votes polled at every polling station within a constituency by the competing candidates. So that is what the Form 45 is. It is a count of the vote polled by every candidate or each candidate at each polling station within a constituency. So what the report points out is that there are clear discrepancies in the manner in which this vote count has been compiled. So you can see clearly the overwriting, the cutting, and even where the overwriting and the cutting has been done somewhat well, a 1 has been turned into a 900. What has happened there is that the Form 45 and the Form 46 have become inconsistent. Now what is the Form 46? The Form 46 is the form that records the total number of ballots used up at a polling station. So normally in a fair election, the aggregate vote count displayed by the Form 45 should be equal to the number of